Most people believe success comes from being smarter than everyone else. They believe it comes from having a higher IQ, better education, or more impressive credentials. They assume that the key advantage in life is intellectual superiority. Charlie Munger believed something very different. He believed that most success comes not from being brilliant, but from avoiding obvious stupidity. This idea sounds almost too simple to be useful, almost disappointing. But over long periods of time, simple ideas applied consistently tend to outperform complex theories applied inconsistently. Munger understood that life is not a test of intelligence, it is a test of judgment. And most people fail not because they lack intelligence, but because they repeatedly make the same avoidable mistakes.
Charlie Munger was never interested in being perceived as clever. He was interested in understanding how the world actually works. As the longtime partner of Warren Buffett, he helped build one of the most successful investment records in history. But finance was only a surface expression of his thinking. At his core, Munger was a student of human behavior. He spent decades observing how people make decisions, why they repeat the same errors, and how small mental mistakes compound into massive failures over time. He believed that if you understand how humans misjudge reality, you gain an enormous advantage in life. Not because you predict the future, but because you avoid self-destruction.
Munger often said that he didn't focus on trying to be smart. He focused on trying not to be stupid. This distinction matters more than it seems. Most people assume success comes from making a few brilliant decisions. In reality, success more often comes from avoiding disastrous ones. If you consistently avoid obvious errors, the odds tilt quietly in your favor. You don't need genius, you need discipline. You need the ability to pause, to question your own impulses, and to resist the urge to act when action is unnecessary. One of Munger's most uncomfortable observations was that intelligent people often make worse decisions. Intelligence does not protect against error. In fact, it can amplify it. Smart people are often better at rationalizing bad behavior. They build convincing stories around poor choices. They mistake clever explanations for truth. Munger noticed that the more intelligent someone is, the easier it becomes for them to defend their own mistakes. This is why clear thinking matters more than intelligence. Clear thinking requires humility. One of Munger's most powerful tools was a concept borrowed from mathematics: inversion. Instead of asking, "How can I succeed?" he asked, "How could I fail?" By clearly identifying the behaviors that destroy outcomes, you can avoid them entirely. It is often easier to remove stupidity than to add brilliance. Avoiding debt, ego-driven decisions, and emotional reactions already places you far ahead of the average person. Munger believed emotions were the primary enemy of rational thought. Fear narrows perception. Greed blinds judgment. Ego distorts reality. Most catastrophic decisions are not made logically. They are made emotionally and then justified intellectually. The problem is not emotion itself. The problem is unexamined emotion. Clear thinkers learn to pause, to step back, to observe before acting. Rationality, for Munger, was inseparable from patience. He believed that long-term thinking beats short-term cleverness.
Those who wait, who observe, and who act selectively often outperform those who act constantly. Doing nothing is often the hardest decision, but it is frequently the correct one.
Charlie Munger did not try to predict the future. He tried to build a mind that could handle uncertainty. By reducing avoidable errors, he increased the odds of long-term success. In the next part, we'll explore the mental models Munger used to understand reality across many disciplines. These models formed the foundation of his lifelong clarity.
Charlie Munger believed that most people think inside very narrow mental boxes. They learn one profession, one discipline, one way of interpreting reality, and then they try to use that single lens to explain the entire world. Munger thought this was dangerous. Reality is too complex to be understood from a single perspective. If you rely on only one way of thinking, you will misinterpret situations, miss important signals, and repeatedly reach the wrong conclusions.
Munger introduced the idea of a latticework of mental models. Instead of relying on a single framework, he collected the most powerful ideas from many disciplines and connected them together. Physics, biology, psychology, economics, mathematics. Each discipline reveals a different part of reality. When these models work together, they dramatically improve judgment. Isolated knowledge is weak. Connected knowledge is powerful.
Munger believed psychology was the most important discipline of all, because most mistakes are not logical failures. They are psychological ones. Humans are biased, emotional, predictable. We overreact to short-term outcomes. We follow crowds. We protect our ego. Unless you understand these tendencies, you will mistake emotion for reason and confidence for truth.
One of Munger's most famous insights was simple. Show me the incentives, and I'll show you the outcome. People respond to incentives more than they respond to logic, ethics, or intention. If incentives are misaligned, behavior will follow, even if the system fails. Understanding incentives allows you to predict actions more accurately than opinions ever could. Munger was not interested in maximizing short-term gains. He was obsessed with avoiding catastrophic losses. He believed survival came first. You don't need to win big if you never lose badly. This mindset favors resilience over excitement and stability over spectacle. Over time, avoiding disasters creates extraordinary results.
Multidisciplinary thinking changes how you see problems. Instead of asking, "What is the clever solution?" you ask, "What is actually happening here?" You consider human bias, structural incentives, long-term consequences. This reduces blind spots and improves decision quality dramatically.
Munger distrusted complexity, not because it was wrong, but because it often hid misunderstanding. Simple explanations are harder to create and easier to verify. Clear thinkers aim for simplicity on the other side of understanding. Complexity impresses, simplicity works.
Mental models help you understand the world, but understanding alone is not enough. In the next part, we'll explore how Munger applied these models to decision-making, patience, and long-term behavior. This is where thinking becomes action.
Charlie Munger believed that life outcomes are largely the result of a small number of decisions made well. Not constant activity, not endless motion, but a few high-quality decisions applied patiently over time. Most people overestimate how much they need to do and underestimate how important it is to choose correctly. Munger saw decision-making as the real game. Everything else was noise.
One of Munger's most uncomfortable ideas was that doing nothing is often the best decision. Most people feel an urge to act, to intervene, to respond. But action without understanding often destroys value. Munger believed patience was not passivity, it was discipline. Waiting for the right opportunity is a form of intelligence.
Time was one of Munger's greatest allies. He understood that time amplifies both good and bad decisions. A small mistake repeated over years can destroy outcomes. A reasonable decision compounded over decades can create extraordinary results. Most people think in days or weeks. Munger thought in decades. Munger focused intensely on avoiding permanent damage. He believed survival was the first rule of success. You don't need to maximize returns if you never expose yourself to ruin. Avoiding extreme risks, over-leverage, and irreversible decisions keeps you in the game. And staying in the game is how compounding works.
Impatience is one of the most expensive traits in life. It pushes people to act too early, to exit too soon, and to abandon strategies just before they work. Munger believed impatience destroyed more wealth than ignorance ever did. Those who can wait often outperform those who rush.
Munger was extremely selective. He did not seek constant opportunities. He waited for obvious ones. This selectivity required saying no far more often than saying yes. The discipline to wait was as important as the courage to act.
Long-term rationality was central to Munger's philosophy. He believed that short-term cleverness was often the enemy of long-term success. Clear thinkers accept temporary discomfort in exchange for lasting outcomes. They resist trends. They ignore noise. They focus on what endures. Charlie Munger's approach was not exciting. It was disciplined, measured, patient. In the next part, we'll explore how Munger dealt with human bias, social pressure, and the psychological traps that distort judgment. This is where clear thinking is truly tested. Charlie Munger believed that the greatest danger to clear thinking is not ignorance, but self-deception. People rarely see reality as it is. They see it as they want it to be. Even intelligent, well-educated people regularly fool themselves without realizing it. The mind is not designed to seek truth. It is designed to protect identity, comfort, and ego. Unless you understand this, your intelligence will work against you.
One of the strongest psychological forces is social proof. When people see others acting in a certain way, they assume it must be correct. This instinct once helped humans survive. Today, it often leads them astray. Markets, careers, and opinions are frequently shaped not by evidence, but by imitation. Munger warned that following the crowd is one of the fastest ways to lose clarity.
Authority bias is another powerful distortion. People often assume that confidence implies correctness and that titles imply truth. Munger believed this was a dangerous mistake. Experience does not guarantee accuracy. Confidence does not equal understanding. Clear thinkers evaluate ideas on their merits, not on who delivers them. Munger often said that incentives are the most powerful force in human behavior. People do what they are rewarded to do, not what is logical, not what is ethical, not what is best in the long term. If you misunderstand incentives, you misunderstand outcomes. Clear thinking begins with asking, who benefits from this behavior?
Once people commit to an idea, they resist changing it, even when evidence clearly contradicts them. Munger observed that consistency is often valued over correctness. People defend past decisions to avoid admitting error. Clear thinkers are willing to update beliefs when reality changes.
Emotions spread faster than facts. Fear, excitement, and outrage move through groups rapidly. Munger warned that emotional environments destroy rational judgment. Clear thinkers learn to slow down, step outside emotional storms, and wait for clarity to return. Munger believed that the most valuable habit of mind was seeking disconfirming evidence. Most people search for information that supports what they already believe. Clear thinkers do the opposite. They actively look for reasons why they might be wrong. This habit protects against overconfidence and improves judgment over time. Understanding psychological bias is not about eliminating emotion. It is about preventing emotion from quietly controlling decisions. In the final part, we'll step back and integrate everything. We'll look at what Munger believed a well-lived life actually requires.
After all the discussion about thinking, judgment, and decision-making, it's important to ask a deeper question. What is all of this actually for? Charlie Munger believed that rational thinking was not just a tool for making money. It was a tool for building a better life. Without wisdom, intelligence becomes dangerous. Without clarity, success becomes empty.
Munger rarely spoke about happiness directly. Instead, he focused on avoiding misery. This approach was practical. Avoiding destructive habits, toxic relationships, and unnecessary stress does more for long-term well-being than chasing pleasure ever could. Remove obvious sources of unhappiness, and clarity naturally follows. Munger believed character mattered more than intelligence. Traits like honesty, patience, and humility compound quietly over time. People with strong character make fewer catastrophic mistakes. They attract better relationships. They earn trust. They reduce friction in life. Character, like capital, compounds. For Munger, rationality was not emotional suppression. It was emotional awareness. He believed emotions should be acknowledged, but not allowed to dominate decisions. Clear thinkers notice emotion, then pause. They create space between feeling and action. That space is where wisdom lives. Munger often emphasized living below your means, not as deprivation, but as freedom. When your desires exceed your resources, stress becomes constant. When your needs are modest, you gain optionality. Financial simplicity creates mental clarity. Munger believed contentment was built over decades, not moments. Short-term excitement fades, long-term peace compounds. A rational life is not dramatic. It is stable, predictable in the best way, and resilient under pressure.
Independent thinking was central to Munger's philosophy. He believed borrowing opinions was one of the fastest ways to lose clarity. Clear thinkers form conclusions slowly, based on evidence and reflection. They are willing to stand alone if necessary.
Charlie Munger's philosophy was not about brilliance. It was about discipline, about avoiding obvious mistakes, about thinking clearly under pressure, about building a life that could endure time. Wisdom, patience, and rationality do not promise excitement. They promise stability, clarity, and freedom. And over a lifetime, that is more than enough.